Welcome to Work-Life Balance. I'm Garland, also known as Captain Time. I've been working on time management mastery for over 30 years, but this topic is very near and dear to my heart because my goal in all of this working and mastery has never been just to get more done, it's to be able to achieve work-life balance. Remember your first job? You might have been in school or university. It might have been in the fast food industry or the service industry, or it might have been stocking shelves. It probably had low pay and crappy hours, but it had one benefit. When you were done, you were done. Work was work and your own time was playtime. And some of us may have played a little bit too hard. Then we got older, we got better jobs, more responsibility, more skills, but something happened. Workplaces became leaner. They started to lay off. So the people you used to work with as part of your team were now gone. So you ended up under a lot more pressure because you were expected to do more with a lot less people. So you started working harder and longer hours. And at some point in all of this, work ended up taking over our lives. Work became more important than our home life. And for some of us, we went a step further and we became workaholics. Now, some people talk about being a workaholic, say I'm a workaholic, like it's a badge of honor. And it's not a good thing. Just like other aholics, workaholics need an intervention or a 12-step program. It's not healthy. So now it's time to take control and time to take back your life. So here are Captain Time's 17 steps to stop being a workaholic and get your life back, to get you to work-life balance. So let's start on some of the steps to taking back your life. The first step is to look at your work hours. Review your company's work and overtime policies. Are they requiring you to work overtime? Or do you just do it? And is that overtime paid or unpaid? And is your job at risk if you work only the required hours? Now, in many cases, we're not being forced to work overtime. We just do it ourselves because we want to see the work get done. So this is the first thing is, are you forced to work or is it something you're choosing yourself? The next step is to get help at work. Remember, if your organization is continually dropping staff and forcing you to do more and more work, this is not your personal problem. Yes, it affects you, but it doesn't mean that you have to work overtime to do the work just because other people have been laid off, because then you're effectively working more hours for free. Another way to get help is to get time management training as part of your professional development, and your work may pay for this. With time management training, you can get up to 3 times as much work done. You might want to also consider hiring a virtual assistant. Many busy people in positions of authority hire virtual assistants, and those people take the cumbersome detail work and get it out of the way so that you can focus on the more important things. You want to reduce after-hour work contact. If possible, don't give them your cell phone number so that if you're out and about, you're not continually interrupted with work questions. Let work calls go to voicemail. Reply by email if you really need to get something back. But just try to find ways to cut down the amount of after-work contact that's going on. When you leave work, you want to flip a mental switch. You want to switch from, being at work to being at home or to being on your own leisure time. So think of a big toggle switch that you reach up and flip it off. So as you leave work, put your arm up in the air, pull the switch and go work off. So do you want to get your head no longer thinking about this? And it's important to keep that work stuff out of your head. You need brain buckets. I call them. Brain buckets are a place to capture ideas that occur. They can be work ideas that occur during your time off. So what I do is I quickly capture them in my case in Microsoft OneNote, which is great because it works on my smartphone, desktop, laptop, or tablet. But you can even just use a little notebook you carry with you. But by getting it out of your head, it keeps you from thinking about your work all the time. So in step 4, we talked about flipping that mental switch when you left work to try to keep your mind from thinking about it. But our minds are kind of like little monkeys. They run around everywhere. So you want to stop your monkey mind from going back to work. So my wife and I have a rule that no talking about work, no mention of work during designated play times, adventure times, date nights. We're not allowed to talk about it. You can set up a work talk jar where you throw $1 in every time you talk about work during playtime. Then that money can be used for vacation or for other play. So get your family's help to catch you. You can try to catch yourself so that you're not continually thinking and obsessing about work. When people ask who you are, do you always introduce yourself by where you work? It's very interesting to think about that, isn't it? When people ask who we are, what we do, our work is who we think of ourselves as. It's very common that top busy executives die early after retirement because work is what they really focused on. Work is what kept them busy, and without that work, they don't know what they're supposed to do. Some of them tick off their spouses by trying to rearrange household routines that have run flawlessly for 40 years because they don't know what to do with their lives, so they decide to start rearranging their spouses. So either they die early or their spouses do them in because they're just driving them crazy. So who's the real you? Who will you be when you retire? And you want to start thinking about this now so that you're not just, Bob Smith, CEO of something incorporated. You want to be more than that. Remember that work is only your secret identity. It's your Clark Kent. So when you leave, you can be something else. You can be an artist, a superhero, a karaoke queen or king, adventurer, rock star, collector, dance diva, lover, like all these different roles you have in your life are also really important. So we have to treat these other roles as just as important or more important than your work. So remember, work is only your secret identity. Step 8 is to treat time as a valuable coin. So you think of your hours of the day like 24 golden coins you get. You probably have to spend about 8 of them sleeping, 2 of them on getting ready for work and commuting, 8 hours of work, maybe eating. You may only end up with 4 hours of off time. So how are you going to invest them wisely? So 4 hours of off time every day. How are you going to invest them? A little more in the weekend. So think of time as an investment. So you want to make sure you're the one choosing how to spend it, not letting other people spend it for you. And you want to dump activities and people that suck up your time. Remember, an hour a day is enough to master a new skill, like you could play a musical instrument or write that novel you've always wanted to write. So it doesn't take that long to do something truly intriguing. In step 9, you have to learn to play again. When you were a child, you were an expert on play. You were a great explorer. Play was something you naturally did. Look at babies learning their environments. Look at toddlers starting to explore. Look at young children running and looking at everything and asking thousands of questions. This is our natural state. This is how we are supposed to be. Then came school. They institutionalized you. They forced you into concrete walls. You could only play at recess and lunch hour. They gave you homework, work you had to take home and work on, like it's totally screwing up your work-life balance even as a child. So they totally screwed up your ability to play. When your career came, it was more of the same. You usually worked through lunch hour and coffee break, or recess as it used to be called. and we sit at our desks and we work. And we are often working after hours for no pay. So here's a few tips to help set up playtime. You want to schedule your playtime first. Set up date nights if you're seeing someone, you have a romantic involvement. Set up adventure days with friends and other people. Set up hobby afternoons where you just spend time on a hobby you've always wanted to get to. Set up artist dates, times when you go out and look at art places and bookstores and things like that, just to get ideas for what you might want to do. And set up times to meet friends. So these are all important things to do, is to actually schedule time to meet with your friends, to spend time in your hobby, to give some thought to artist ideas. And by artist, I don't mean you have to be a great painter. I mean anything you might want to do. It could be sewing or whittling or singing or karaoke. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's something you enjoy doing that helps you feel creative. And times for adventure, even just seeing your local city, going and seeing places you've never seen before, visiting museums and galleries, going kayaking. There's so many things you can do. And date nights are so critical. It's so common when people get older and have kids and their careers start getting important that couples start growing apart because they don't take time to spend with each other. Step 10 is to actually take vacations. Many of us don't even take our full vacations. Studies have shown many people don't take all the full holiday days they are allowed to take every year. And when we do take vacations, sometimes we just do things that need to be done at home. We fix things at home rather than getting away. So it's important to get away, to feel fully disconnected from your work. And getting away helps more strongly flip that mental switch. It's easier to forget about work when you're on a lovely beach, or you're out in a quiet forest, or you're visiting a museum, or where you're seeing shops you've never seen before, or talking to people you've never met before. That really helps flip that mental switch. Step 11 is to unplug, is to set up days where you have low tech. Turn your notifications off on your smartphones. Spend time out in nature. Nature is real. Whenever I'm feeling upset or worried, overwhelmed at all the business and all the other stuff that's going on, I just get back out in nature and it helps reset me. All of these man-made problems that we have, they're first world problems. For most of us, we have enough to eat. We have enough to pay our bills. We're not facing war or famine or pestilence. So for most of our worry, it's just not needed. We need to get back out where things are real. It's also very important to move. Exercise is revitalizing and it releases positive endorphins. I try going for a walk every day at lunch and I find I can work much better in the afternoon because I've gotten that break and I've gotten away. Getting out and moving helps you choose more fulfilling activities rather than just the default of turning the TV on and flipping through channels. And they've done studies that have proven that exercise helps relieve depression. So many people get into that depressive spiral where all they feel like doing is sitting home watching TV. But because that's all they're doing is part of the problem. So if they got out there and started doing some exercising, for many people, it would help solve some of the problems. Step 13 is to restructure your life. Start to think, how can I simplify it? How can I gain more time back for myself? Can I get groceries delivered to me so I don't have to shop? Can I arrange for a cleaning service to take care of the cleaning? How about personal concierge services? People who go out, find things for you, go shopping for you, organize things for you. If you're on a budget and you think, well, I can't do this, Garland, because I'm on a budget, think about how can I exchange services with other people? I've often exchanged services with people for things that I want. Think about cooking meals in batches and in freezing, getting together with friends, and you can do that. It's a family tradition in our household that we get together and make my parents' homemade donut recipe. And then, of course, we freeze them and everybody takes bags of them home. So it saves time because we've got desserts for quite some time after that, but it's also a great fun thing to do with friends and relatives. Think of setting up carpools to get kids to those extracurricular activities so that you're not spending your entire life as a taxi driver for free. Step 14 is to stake those energy vampires. You want to dump all the people, activities, things that suck the life out of you. Being around those kinds of people brings you down, ruins your energy. It just, is something you don't want in your life. And yes, even family. If you've got energy vampires in your family that are like this, stop seeing them. Spend less time with them. There's ways of doing this. If family shows up to your door unexpectedly, tell them you were just on your way out. You had a meeting with a friend. So there's ways of stopping this kind of energy sucking from going on. Working from home is a great joy for me, but there can be some problems with working from home in that you're almost never leaving your work. So if you do work from home, you're going to want to leave at times to take your breaks. I have set times of work. I don't work in the evenings and weekends except when I'm asked to speak or special occasions. So for the most part, when I'm done, I'm done. So I turn my business phone off after hours. I don't check my business email after hours, and I close my office door so that I'm not having to look at any of the work being done. My wife and I often both work from home. So in many cases, even though our home is lovely and we really enjoy being there, sometimes we'll pop out to a coffee shop to just sit and chat and have fun, or play a game of cards, or play a game or something, because it helps to get away from the work environment. I am a firm believer in volunteering. I do volunteer with a couple of organizations, but it's important that you set a schedule and limit it so it doesn't take over. You want to set aside a certain amount of hours per week for your volunteering, but that's it, because otherwise what's happening is it's taking away from your entertainment, it's taking away from your reset, it's taking away from your relaxation. In some cases, it can even hurt your business if you're running a business. Step 17 is to remember to replenish your reservoir. You can't keep drawing from the energy well. You have to replenish every day. You need to take breaks. You need to reset. You need to relax. And you'll find that when you do replenish like that, when you get back to work refreshed, you'll get a lot more done. I find by taking my weekends off, I get more done during the week than if I worked 7 days a week. So overall, I get more done by working less. And what is the meaning of life anyway? What is the most important thing to you? And do your time investments actually reflect this? Many people tell me that, oh, my kids are the most important thing to me. My family is the most important thing to me. And I say, really? So where's the time you've scheduled this week for family time? Where's that set schedule? Oh, well, it's not scheduled. We just kind of do this and this. But you're not really treating it like a full investment to making sure you're there. We tend to try to do our personal life and our family life and those kinds of things as stolen time. Well, when the work is done, if I have a little bit of extra time, then I'll do that. Nobody on their deathbed wished that they had spent more time in the office. So those are Captain Time's 17 steps to work-life balance. Stop working the extra hours, get help at work, reduce your after-work contacts, make sure that you have brain buckets to get work out of your head after hours, flip your mental work switch to off when you leave, rein in your monkey mind, keep it off of work. Make sure you have an identity beyond work. Work is only your secret identity. Your real you is hiding somewhere else. Treat time as a valuable coin. Schedule playtime first. Take your vacations. Unplug. Get physical. Restructure your life. Make it simpler. Make it, so that you're not having to run around so much. Get rid of those energy vampires who are draining you. If you have a home office, play outside of it. Schedule and limit your volunteer hours. Make sure you're doing volunteer work you enjoy, but make sure it doesn't take over. And replenish your energy and spirit. And a reminder that treat time as valuable. When you treat your time as valuable, you're treating yourself as valuable. Spend your time like you would money. Invest wisely. If you need more help, I offer time management coaching and consulting. I work with individuals and groups, and I'd be happy to do a free 20-minute consultation with you to explore ways that we can work together. Thank you so much for listening.